let's make my favourite chocolate cake. This is a favourite for a reason. It's a really easy, very delicious chocolate cake, and it's got a beautiful springy texture. So it's perfect as a layering cake or as a sort of quick and easy kid's birthday cake. I hope you love it as much as I do. Let's get going. This is your full ingredients list. You can find the list on the Steam and Bake website under Simple Steam Oven Chocolate Cake if you search the recipe index. And if you don't bake in US customary, then you can switch to metric and it will give you all of the metric measurements that I use as well through the recipe card. You just click that little bit at the bottom that says metric. Let's get started. This is really simple. We're just going to mix all of our dry ingredients in a large bowl. So you'll need your flour, your white sugar and brown sugar, your cocoa powder. Don't mind my head in the frame there. Still learning to make videos. You'll need baking soda and salt. And then we just whisk all of that together. So you're just whisking all of those ingredients together. It should be fairly quick. You just want to make sure they're uniformly blended and that there's no large lumps of any of those ingredients left in the bowl. And then the same thing for the wet ingredients. You're just popping all of those into a Pyrex jug or into another mixing bowl. Add them all to that jug and then give them a really good whisk to combine. The real point of this one is just to break up those eggs and make sure that there's no chunky bits of egg in there. Here we go, whisk it really well, get those eggs blended through. If you can do it as fast as my hand is there, I'll be very, very impressed with you. And then we move on to the next step. Okay, all we do now is pop that really well mixed wet ingredient mixture into the dry ingredients and whisk it up until you've got a really glossy, smooth, quite thick batter. So you can see here now that we've whisked, it looks really pretty smooth. It's nice and shiny and quite thick. Because that's really well blended now, we can add the water without worrying about getting lumps in the mixture. So pour in your water, just give it a really gentle sort of stir around. You're not really beating it at this point, you're just giving it a nice blend to get that water mixed in. So what you'll end up with here is quite a thin batter. It's still nice and glossy. We want it to be nice and thin. That actually will make it bake a little bit better. Pour it into your pan. I'm using a 9x13 rectangle today. You can also use 9-inch round pans, but you'll need to use 2 pans and bake in separate layers so that it's not too thick inside that pan. Scrape it all in and we'll go straight into the oven. Now we've finished baking and you should have a really light, springy sort of cake. It might crack a little bit in the middle, don't worry too much about that. You can either trim it off later to make it really nice and flat if you're serving it for something fancy. To be honest, mostly I just cover it with frosting and away I go. Nobody ever complains. Once your cake is cool, you will probably want to frost it. We really love this sour cream chocolate ganache. It's super easy to make. I actually make it in my steam oven. So all you need here is chocolate buttons or chopped bar chocolate. And obviously the darker it is, the less sweet your frosting will be. And you'll need full fat whole milk sour cream. Pop them together in a bowl. You don't need to stir at this point. You just cover that really well with plastic wrap, and that will go into your steam oven to gently melt. Give it a really good stir at this point. So you really haven't needed to stir it before. I don't stir this before it goes into the steam oven to melt. I just leave it all to sit there and get nice and soft. And then as it comes out, you can see it really doesn't take much effort to mix it into this beautiful glossy sort of thick frosting. You can use this frosting immediately. You can see that's what I'm doing here, and it's already fairly thick, so it spreads quite well and sort of contains itself on the cake just fine. If you want it a little bit thicker though, so you can make peaks, then just let it sit until it's cooled and thickened somewhat. Okay, I'm off to eat my cake. I hope you are too. Thanks for playing along today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you back here again for some more steam oven cooking very soon. Bye.